All right. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another day of SaberSim's DFS office hours. Today is Thursday, March 14th of 2024. Looking ahead, we have a 6-game NBA main slate tonight. We have a 12-game NHL main slate, and the Players Championship for PGA teed off earlier this morning. So good luck to all of you playing some golf DFS this weekend, and those of you participating in our PGA mini challenge, which is focused around the $3.20 max, the birdie contest on DraftKings. So it should be a fun 4 weeks here. For those of you who are new here, welcome. My name is Andrew. I'm one of the coaches over here at SaberSim. This is a show where we go over how to use the SaberSim app, answer any and all DFS related questions. You get your questions in one of 3 ways here. First off, send us an email, support@sabersim.com. Second, post it live in the YouTube chat. Third way, post it in the office hours channel in our Discord server. If you're not in our Discord and want to get access to that channel, there is a link in the description of this video. You also get access to our similar channels, individual sport channels, and you get access to the rest of the SaberSim team. So can't say enough good things about the Discord. But we do this show Monday through Friday, 4 p.m. Eastern. And then on Saturdays, we do this show at 11 a.m. Eastern. So tune in, get your questions answered, hang out, and get better at DFS is the point of this show. But with that said, going to get the app pulled up here. We have a few questions to get us started today, but if you guys have questions, today's probably a good day to get them in. Doesn't look like the queue is too big here. So get your questions in one of 2 ways here, and kicking us off. First question says, when you increase your min unique number, what is SaberSim taking into account when selecting the players to use? Okay, good question. So say I have, 20 lineups here, right? Now let's say that, I go over here and I look at my exposures. So, pretty high exposures. I have 27 players in my player pool. So what Min Uniques is doing is it's saying, hey, every lineup that you're looking at in your set of lineups in the My Lineups box must have X players different from every other lineup in this set. So when we build your pool, we never put the same lineup into your pool more than once. So automatically that means that every lineup here has at least one player different. Now, they could share 7 players and only have one player different. That is allowed. So what Min Uniques does is it's basically saying, hey, maybe I want to make more players different per every lineup, more than one. Maybe I don't want to share 7 players. Maybe I only want to share 6. Maybe I only want to share 5. Maybe I only want to share 4. Well, what happens when you increase this is SaberSim redoes that calculation. And then it says, okay, if you want to guarantee that 2 players are different from every other lineup in this set of 20 lineups, well, then maybe we got to skip some lineups. Maybe some lineups are too similar. And we could see this 13, and then we skip to 15. So if I go to my pool here, open up my pool instead of the My Lineups, I can go to where lineup 12 would be, and then I could see that it's grayed out. Well, what that's saying is that, hey, this lineup has less than 2 players different from one of these other lineups, and therefore we have to skip it in order to meet this Min Unique 2 requirement that you're asking us to meet. So that's one of the good things about having a pool of bigger lineups is that you have more optionality. So like when you put in this requirement, SaberSim can sift through this pool of 500 lineups and find 20 that match the requests that you're making. And we can see that, we had to skip 2 lineups, and then it looks like we added in lineup 21 and 22. Without this requirement, we would be playing the top 20. So that is what Min Uniques is doing. And then that is what it's checking. It's checking those combinations. And, the higher this number goes, 2 things are going to happen. One, you're going to go further down in your pool because SaberSim needs to sift through more lineups to meet that requirement. And then 1, you're going to see exposures go down. And then 2, you're going to see the number of players in your player pool increase. And that is a direct circumstance of trying to find more players that are different per lineup. So it's a good way of diversifying yourself and making sure that your lineups aren't super correlated. Because like what you'll see in your standings, like on your fantasy side, is like, hey, all of your lineups are going to be bunched together, whether it's in the left, whether it's in the middle, whether it's in the right. Those lineups are going to be very, very tight because they're highly correlated. But when you increase your min uniques, when that number goes up, your lineups are going to be a little more spread out. So like if one lineup does bad, that's less of an indication that all of your lineups are doing bad. So you're going to have, a little bit more spread out here. So that's why we think it's a good tool. We definitely recommend using it. The variance in DFS is very, very high. And that's, one way of diversifying yourself. All right. Looks like a couple people commented on that question. Looks like 12 Pack did. And appreciate you guys jumping in and helping somebody get a question answered sooner than the show. All right, there was a follow-up. If there are significant changes that Vegas changes with the team totals, does SaberSim try to match them? So I wouldn't say that we try to match them, but we definitely understand what Vegas is like projecting for a game. So it would honestly be really bad if like we didn't take it into account, because it'd be like, okay, hey, Dallas and OKC, the over-under is, 135 points. I'm sorry, 235 points. And then, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander gets ruled out. I actually think Luka is out today. Luka gets out and, Vegas drops the total, 5 points or something like that, but we still have it high. Like, we're probably missing some information if that were to happen, right? So if we are, way off from Vegas, chances are something is wrong. And, we have alerts and things in place to let us know where like, hey, give us a heads up. Like, hey, are we missing something here? Or, is this just like, these are not from Vegas. These are from our internal NBA model, our play-by-play sim, but we are definitely aware of what Vegas is, projecting and what the market is saying like a good line is. So we take those things into account. We're aware of them, but they, are not the driving factor here, and they are not what you see in the app. All right. Good question there. Looks like those are all the questions here in the Discord, and we don't have anything right now in the YouTube chat. So with the additional time here, I'm just going to do like a demo if I were building lineups for today's slate here. So just like give me a quick second to get set up, and then I'm going to do a demo as if I were building for the NBA slate tonight. So if anybody has any questions, now's a good time to get them in. I'm going to do the demo, and then we'll jump back to any more questions here. So let's jump over here. And let's go back to NBA. All right. So loading up my 6-game main slate. This is actually like something that comes up a lot. So I do want to cover it. If you log into SaberSim and like you're not seeing the home screen for whatever reason, just go to the top left. This will either say it's going to say choose your slate, go to all slates on the left, make sure you have a date, make sure you have a sport, and most importantly, make sure you have a site selected. It's very easy to just forget the site and just have these other two. When you click the site, it will find all of that site's slates for today, and then you can click on one of them. So that does come up here from time to time. So then now that I got my slate chosen here, I go to my settings. I notice that my build lineups is grayed out. Well, if you're building for DraftKings, DraftKings requires that you make 2 changes to projections prior to running lineups. So I'm just going to go to my projection column and use these little plus and minus icons to make very small changes to player projections. And after I make 2, that build lineups button goes from gray to green here. Now, I would always recommend building the max number of lineups you can for the plan that you're on. However, for the sake of time for this show, I am going to lower the pool size from 5,000 to 500. But whether you can build 500, 1,500, 5,000, I would always build the max number of lineups. So we're just going to do 500 for now. So while this is running, if you're on the ultimate plan and say that, you're playing some contests today, well, first thing that we should have also done is loaded up a CSV file. So go to contests. If you're logged into DraftKings on the device that you're using, you can use as download template file from DraftKings hyperlink. If you click this, we will go and download the correct slate CSV that matches the entries that you have reserved. And then you can just drag and drop it into here. But let's say you do that, you get your entry file to look something like this all contest page. And let's say that, you are playing the 20K and one, right? So if you're on the ultimate plan, I would set up my contest sim. I could just right click on my contest, use this add contest sim button. We're going to autofill all the correct set of field lineups, the contest size, and then the payout structure for the contest, and click save. All right. So then now I go back to my build. It has finished running here. So order of operations, right? People ask me this, hey, what is the right sequence to follow after a build is run? Well, build the lineups. And then if you have contest sims, just kick them off. Contest sims are a way of, in one of the simplest terms, a way of getting additional sorting metrics. It's giving you, what we would say are better sorting metrics than are otherwise available. So then now I run my contest sim. I'm going to use the scroll bar on the bottom to go over to the right a little bit so I can see my exposures, my pool, my leverage. And then I'm going to set, my number of lineups to however many I need. I set this up for the and one, so it's a 20 max. So I'll just leave it at 20 here. And then if you're on, a non-ultimate subscription, I would stick with SaberScore. But if you are on ultimate, then I would switch to your contest sim metrics here. And we recommend using risk-adjusted ROI. And now that I've got that set up here, I can start looking at my lineups, right? So I always like to use the last lineup in my set of 20 as a measuring stick here. I don't know why the saying you're only as strong as your weakest link popped into my head, but nevertheless it did here. So then now, what I'm going to do personally here is I'm just going to auto set my min uniques to half of however many players are in my lineup. So there's 8 players per NBA lineup here. I'm just going to set it to 4 right off the bat. And this takes me down to lineup 120 out of 500. I noticed that my sim ROI is still positive. So far, so good. Now what I'm going to do is increase my min uniques from 4 to 5 and see if I can go a little bit higher. So at this point, this is where it gets tricky. This is a pretty interesting place between using ultimate versus using a pro plan, for example. So on ultimate, I can see here that the sim ROI for this 429th lineup is still positive. It's 3% sim ROI. Me personally, I would be comfortable playing this lineup. However, if you don't have that measuring stick, it's a lot harder to be comfortable playing this lineup. So what I would do if I were on a non-ultimate subscription is that I would probably lower this from 5 to 4 and just focus on trying to play lineups in the top 25 to 50% of my pool. So that's just one note of advice here, but I'm going to go up to 5 here. And then I'm going to check a couple things, right? I want to check my leverages. I'm going to sort by leverage descending, showing me my highest to lowest. And, spend a little time looking at these plays. Hey, do I agree with them? Hey, am I okay with the exposures that I'm getting? I would sort inversely as well. Look at the players that you're taking a stand against. Are you sure you want to take a stand against these guys? Do you want to lower the risk that you're taking against them in the opposite direction and make a determination there? And then once I'm kind of happy with those things, I'm going to go back to my exposures. I might check my stack exposure here and just make sure that hey, what kind of stacks am I getting? Okay, everything's relatively close to their pool exposure. So, it's not like we're getting, 0.8% 332s and they're showing up in all of our lineups, right? Or something like that. I think that's the only thing that you would be kind of want to be aware of or wary of. But other than that, everything here looks good to me. I would be comfortable submitting these lineups as my set here. So then I would go to save to my contest. If I had my CSV, I could just use a save to my contest button at this point. Make sure that you use select that a method is selected in the top right of this pop-up. And then you click save to contest, you download those entries and you upload them to the fantasy site. If you don't know where to upload them on that page, go to the top right menu and this Open DFS site on download. Turn it on. And then when you click download selected entries, we are automatically going to take you to the right page that you need to upload the entries on, because on DraftKings it can be a little confusing. You can upload lineups or you could upload entries. You need to upload entries. If you upload lineups, those lineups are not going to go into your contest automatically. So a little bit confusing. That's why we have that button in the first place, so you go to the right page automatically. So I would recommend using it if you're not familiar with the right place to make that upload. But with that said, that is it. That is all I have for you guys today here. So appreciate you guys tuning in, hanging out with me. I will be right back here tomorrow, Friday, 4 p.m. Eastern for our next show. So until then, everybody, take care. Good luck. I'll see you all. Thanks. Bye.